Silver's 44-year cup and handle, the largest bullish formation ever seen. 44 years in the
Yeah,
making.
and gold is similar to that, but that's a big
Yeah,
one. And
yeah,
for those people, who don't know, I'm sure many do, but a cup and handle formation is one of the most bullish technical
yeah,
formations, and it shows in this case a tremendous base that was formed. When you have a cup and handle formation that is that long, I think it probably would accentuate the outcome that much more.
yep,
Anything that is done over time creates a much bigger pattern for sure. That's a very bullish sign, 100%.
yeah.
Silver, often described as the poor man's gold, but known to massively outperform the yellow metal during bull markets, is on the brink of another massive outperformance. According to renowned financial experts and metals analysts, from Michael Oliver to Mike Maloney and Andy Schectman. Additionally, technical analysis reveals a massive cup and handle formation, spanning over 44 years since 1980, signaling that the cheaper metal may just be about to take the entire financial market by surprise. Analysts are calling this massive formation the granddaddy of cup and handle formations, as it easily dwarfs any other pattern they've noticed in recent history. However, the expected meteoric rise in silver's price stems from more than just technical analysis. According to renowned metals experts and bullion dealers like Andy Schectman, the president of Minnesota-based Miles Franklin Precious Metals, this is the perfect setup for silver prices to experience the breakthrough stackers have been looking forward to for decades. Andy believes the macroeconomic environment, which can be described as rocky as best even in the United States, the world's leading economy, and completely chaotic in other developed economies, is signaling an impending collapse of the fiat system. A natural replacement of this system would be a reversion to a metals-backed system that has served the world way longer than fiat currencies. Andy believes this is the same conclusion central banks like the People's Bank of China arrived at decades ago, when the Chinese government stealthily started accumulating gold in the early 1980s. Now, the accumulation of gold is not as stealthy, but China is still stealthily acquiring silver for its endgame. In a recent interview with Silver Slayer, Andy talks about the coming October BRICS meeting, revealing that something massive will go down during that meeting that might change the course of global politics and economics forever. As we present clips from the discussion, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications bell for more videos like this. We appreciate the support and hope you enjoy the video.
We're less than a month away from the BRICS meeting. I think it's October 2nd in Kazan, I think we pronounce it. And maybe 6 weeks away from the biggest election in this country's history. So, and what do we have? We got gold breaking out. Gold up $30 today, 26.60 basically, and silver up a big 5.2%, up $1.60 to 32.30. I mean, that's the thing, that people talk about the gold silver ratio. So gold was up 1.1% and silver up 5.1%. It outpaced it by a factor of 5. That is the gold silver ratio in a microcosm, just a little tiny piece of what you could expect when silver catches up, which I think it will. I think that silver, look, you're the Silver Slayer. I'm on your show. I own a silver company. Who cares? The truth of the matter is that silver is probably the most undervalued asset on the planet. And you look at the Fed now cutting rates at a time when we're, for the first time really in almost a year, we're seeing a little bit of an uptick in the ETFs from the West. So just to set the stage, we've talked about the ETF holdings going down like this as gold and silver have been going up like this, which is usually incredibly negative for the metals market. At the same time, you had a positive real yield. Forget about the nonsense out of the BS. I mean, the BLS and their CPI. Forget about that. Let's just pretend that it's real. And you have a 5% 6-month treasury yield and a 3.5% or 3.3% inflation. That's a positive real yield, downward sloping participation in the ETFs, and a strong dollar. That's the death knell for gold and silver, yet somehow it keeps going higher. And now when you see for the first time in a long time that slope in ETFs has gone like this, it's starting to go back up. And I think that component, the precious metals in particular in gold, but also in silver, that ETF component has been absent largely over the last 2 years. And I think you add that in on top of all the things we've talked about, like our interview with Sean we did not too long ago really had a great impact on me, where we discussed China going around the world, in particular Latin America, and buying up the doré and the concentrate. That's huge, right? Because that's just like the People's Liberation Army, right? No one talks about the PLA. They talk about the PBOC, the People's Bank of China, and their purchases have to be reported to the IMF. And while we stopped buying gold for a couple of months, no, you didn't. The People's Liberation Army doesn't have to report it, and they probably have more gold than the PBOC does. So the point I'm getting at is that there's a tremendous amount of effort to conceal just how much gold and silver the rest of the world is buying using the suppression of our markets, the brain dead suppression. And we've been seeing this great growth largely in gold, with silver lagging, which is typically the way it works too, my man, because gold goes up first and silver catches up like a slingshot. It's like if you ever gone water skiing and you go around a curve on a boat and it gets to that point where it just goes shoom. And that's what would happen here traditionally, where silver outperforms gold later on. And that's kind of what we see today here, where a 5% gain. Now, that's just a small snapshot of what it would look like, but 5%, it's outpaced its gain today 5-1, yet gold is up $30. It's distorted by the dollar figure of silver being up $1.60, but percentage wise, it's 5 times the gain. So, anyways, what I'm getting at is that now you add into an ETF, positive ETF inflow, and the Fed pivoting. You're going to add, I think, a lot of upside to the gold and silver market that's not priced in yet, as you get more interest from the investing public for the first time on a broad scale in almost 2 years.
There are talks of 2 BRICS meetings in October. One is scheduled to be held in China, where the existing members are slated to discuss the unit, the BRICS common currency that could potentially replace the dollar as the world's reserve currency. The BRICS unit will be backed 40% by gold and 60% by the members' local fiat currencies. The unit will also facilitate payments on Project M Bridge, replacing the SWIFT payment system, which was created with the involvement of the Bank of International Settlements and the government of Saudi Arabia. Then, we have the BRICS annual summit in Kazan, Russia, to be held later in the month. According to reports, countries like Thailand and Afghanistan are seeking formal invitations to the summit and the bloc. 150 countries are reported to have shown interest in being a part of the summit, because the BRICS objective of replacing the dollar and ending Western dominance resonates loudly with the rest of the world.
This week or next week in China, to ratify the whole unit discussion, to then bring it to the meeting in October. Yes, I mean, it's certainly on the docket to be discussed. And here's the thing, man, even if they don't ratify it yet and don't bring it out, you can see the handwriting is on the wall. And it's coming one way or the other. I would say they're definitely going to discuss it. Will they announce it? Don't know. Maybe that's why the Fed dropped rates by 50 basis points, even though the economy is supposed to be so glorious, and the stock market at all-time high, and unemployment so low. Thing is that the unemployment numbers that they use are fugazi, and the 4% unemployment traditionally would be record low. It'd be really, really good. But the U6 number that they used to report up through the 90s is almost 8%. And that's far more realistic than the numbers that we are being told, especially since we already know that 1 million full-time jobs were lost last year, replaced by 665,000 part-time jobs, largely from undocumented immigrants. And at the same time, 1.3 million jobs were full-time jobs with benefits to American citizens, and those are gone. And then they revised the numbers down by 818,000 jobs, along with a couple 100,000 throughout the year. In other words, another 1 million jobs. It's all a bunch of bullshit. It's not the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's the Bureau of Bullshit. And that's the part that bothers me, is that they're painting a picture that isn't real. And it's as if they see something coming. Could it be a massive recession? You know, we've talked about last week when the inverted yield curve, the longest ever and steepest, inverts, Every single time since 1950, it has predicted a recession without fail, 100%. Or Claudia Sam's rule, I think it's Sam or Sam, I'm not sure, S-A-H-M, where she talks about a 3-month rolling average of unemployment. And if it rises 50 basis points from its low point, you're in a recession. Well, it's up 53 basis points. It's predicted a recession 9 times in a row with 100% accuracy. Are we in a recession? Is that what they're worried about? Could it be something far worse? Could it be something that comes out of BRICS? Are they going to try and do something to stop that BRICS meeting from happening, to stop the election from happening? God forbid. But I want you to think about something. I was listening to a podcast the other day with RFK Jr. He's like, the Ukraine and Russia have a 2,200-mile border. And NATO is talking on putting these Aegis missiles on the border, which can carry a nuclear warhead and would beat a Moscow in 3 minutes. If it were on the Mexican border, would we stand for this in 1 second? And so you can understand that you wonder to what lengths will they go to keep Trump out of office? Does it mean even doing something to perhaps delay the election or cancel the election? And that's not so far-fetched. That actually is what's happening right now in the Ukraine, where Zelensky has suspended, the elections under the guise of martial law because they're in the midst of a war. God forbid that's the lengths to what we would see here. But like I said, man, these are going to be the craziest now 8 weeks maybe of our lives. I really do believe that. I can't wait to ride shotgun with you, and hopefully it's not too crazy so we can talk about it and still enjoy life, right?
This is a poignant moment in the global economy, one for which most metals investors have been preparing for a very long time. On the one hand, we are witnessing a shift from a unipolar world, largely controlled by the United States and the West, to a multipolar world, where more countries and regions outside the West have a voice and influence. On the other hand, the current financial system supported by the West is crumbling, and the new powers that are rising are showing their full support for a commodities-backed system. Do you think that the next era of global economics and geopolitics will be really favorable for gold and silver investors? Please leave your comments and observations in the comment section below, hit the like button, and subscribe for more videos. All of these actions help boost the YouTube algorithm so our videos can reach metals investors. Thanks for the support.